Each year I sell thousands of art prints, and it all starts right here in a single room in my home. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 tools that you need to be able to do this too. First thing you're going to need is a really good printer, and I recommend using the Epson P900. It is an archival pigment-based ink printer. And I love this because it means that these prints that you make with it are going to last without fading for more than 100 years. It makes it so much better than buying one of the cheaper dye-based printers that are going to make prints that just don't last quite as long. Also, one of the other things I love about this printer is that it prints up to 17 inches wide, so this gives you flexibility to make a whole bunch of different sizes of prints. You can make 8x10 size prints all the way up to 16x20. Now this printer costs $1,300, and you might think that's quite a bit of an investment to make, especially if you're starting out a new business. But let me just put this into perspective for you. One of these 8x10 size prints that I sell for $20 only cost me $1 to make. That means that I'm making a $19 profit off of selling every single one of these prints. If you're thinking about this and calculating that all up, this turns out to be selling 70 prints to pay off the initial cost of the printer. The printer comes with a full set of ink cartridges, so you'll be able to recoup your cost of the printer without replacing any additional cartridges. At least that was my experience with the printer. I also want to mention print on demand as an option because I know a lot of you may be considering starting your art print business by using a company like Printful or Gelato to fulfill the prints for you. So that way you don't have to buy a printer or do any of the work with making the prints. But here's the thing that I think you should really consider before going that route is that first off, the prints are not going to be as good of quality as you make yourself. They're never going to be. And your turnaround time on making the prints are going to be much quicker if you make them yourself. So you're going to have happier customers on that end of things. But from the profitability standpoint, there is no way a print-on-demand company can ever compete with the prices that you're able to sell your work at and the profit you're able to make off of them when you're making them yourself. So if you make the print yourself, you're making a $19 profit. If you use Printful and you sell it for a similar price point, you're making around an $8 profit. $19 versus $8. I mean, what would you rather make long-term in your business? Of course, you'd rather make $19 per print. The next tool you're going to need is paper. You can either use something that's lower end like this one, and I've put links to everything I'm discussing in this video in the description, or you can use a higher end paper. It just kind of depends on how much of a profit margin you want to make on your prints, as well as what you want to sell your prints for or as. And what I mean by this is that if you want limited edition prints, then going with a higher end cold press paper that has a nice texture on it might be a good decision. Whereas if you're selling open edition prints like I do, then I just use the cheapest acceptable paper, and that's this premium presentation paper matte. And just to go over the exact costs of what goes into a $1 print. First, you have the paper, which is the premium presentation paper matte, and that costs around 30 cents a sheet. Now, these are prices at the time of recording this video. It could go up or down, probably up over time, but hopefully not. But right now, it's about 30 cents per sheet. Sometimes you can get them on sale for a little bit less than that, but we're going to go with that as an even number. And then it costs 65 cents per sheet for the ink. And now the ink cost is 65 cents whether you print on the lower quality paper or the higher quality paper, because all matte paper for an 8x10 size costs 65 cents with the Epson P900. So it's actually coming in at 95 cents per print, but I add a little extra in there for each print because every once in a while you will make a print where there's an error or something on it, like maybe an ink splotch, or maybe the paper wasn't aligned in there just properly. You just never know. Things happen. Oftentimes I have 1 out of every 100 prints go bad, just something goes wrong. So I add that in there in the cost. So that way it's about $1 per print. The third tool you're going to need is something to be able to take photographs of your artwork with, so that way you can make them into prints. And it's actually a very easy process to do. I have tutorials for either taking photos with your phone, because most modern phone cameras are really good. So as long as you have a newer cell phone, you'll be able to use that to take photos of your work. But also if you have something like a DSLR camera, like a higher end camera, that will also take really good photos. So whichever way you decide to go, I have tutorials for both. You can watch the camera tutorial here and the phone tutorial here. All right, thank you so much for watching. Hope this helps. See you next time.